I can't choose which taxi company to use. Okay, I won't. Many years ago I used to work for a company where overtime was really common. If we worked past a set amount of hours to a certain time at night, the company would pay for a taxi to take us home. I was happy with this arrangement and would do quite a lot of overtime and was really productive. I didn't like the people the company wanted us to use for taxis. They had on several occasions forgotten to pick me up and standing there waiting for them late at night in the city. I and several of my colleagues started using an alternate taxi company which I was happy with. The company I worked for told us we had to use their preferred company even though they cost the exact same. I told my management I would prefer to use my preferred company as there was no additional cost and they were more reliable. I would even prefer to hail a taxi as they were common in that area. I was told to use only their preferred company or I wouldn't be able to use one at all. I did what they asked. I stopped using any taxis. I also stopped doing any overtime. My normal performance was the same, but the amount I would do in overtime made quite a big difference to our backlog of work. It took only 2 or 3 weeks for them to change their tune and allow me to go back to using who I preferred as they really needed me doing that overtime. It took only 2 or 3 weeks for them to change their tune and allow me to go back to using who I preferred as they really needed me. Nah, I'm good now. I'm really enjoying having my evenings back. How about, if this is a business-required taxi, then I'll clock out once the taxi arrives. When they didn't pick you up, what happens? Call every XX minutes? How about you get paid overtime until the cab company shows up? If they don't show up by 2,300, you get paid to sleep in the office until the cab arrives in the morning and you get to go home for the day? I thought you were going to wait for the unreliable taxi on the clock and rack in OT. But this is good too. GJ. They probably had some arrangement with that taxi company, to be fair. Probably got a company discount as well. So that might be the reason why. Ha! You taxied them until it hurt. All hail MC. I think your response was more than fair. Always sucks when other people tell you what's good for you. Stay clocked in until the taxi gets there as possible. So if they forget, you keep getting paid to wait. I had a similar experience. Whilst working for a taxi company, I had worked there about 18 months. Answering calls, booking journeys, that sort of stuff. The company was brought out by a local businessman that wanted to work closer to home from his previous work. At this point, drivers were allowed to carry staff at will, and for whatever they decided to charge. And the company didn't take their cut from the amount, like they did with other work. I had a couple drivers that lived in the same village as me, so had no problems dropping me off at the end of the night shift, as they'd be heading that way anyway. When the company was taken over, he started making the drivers charges like customers, and taking his share from it. Not long after he took on Myso as a driver, and the manager, not owner, wrangled things so that Myso would be passing our house after he school run, and she would pick me up on the quiet on her way back into town. Also, the driver who lived near me started dropping me off at his place, and I'd walk the 510 minutes the rest of the way, as the owner would randomly check the tracking system to see if anyone dropped me off. With Myso bringing me in earlier than needed, I'd jump on the phone if the current operator was busy, and help out till my shift began, and I took over. Our owner caught wind of how I was getting into work, so cracked down again. So I started getting the buses. My options there was 2 hours early, or 30 minutes late, so I started coming in super early, and just sitting there, taking up space in the office. Sometimes the other operator would look over, asking with her eyes for help, while phones rang off the hook. But I'd refuse. I explained to her what I was doing, and we started losing work because of it. I left not long after this, but I was informed that all staff rules on taxis had been returned to normal again not long afterwards. So the question is, who was getting a kickback from the preferred taxi company? It is uber important to keep the top performers happy. 2 or 3 weeks to realize they were wrong. If it was with me, they would not get any more overtime. Somebody is pissed that their kickbacks just fell apart. Did the preferred taxi company give a payout to the management bosses? Or was the preferred taxi company run by the boss's brother-in-law or cousin? They were probably getting a kickback from the preferred cab company. Over time they taxi to your stop. When you try to make sense at work, but management says no because they're management and you're not. Fine. Do the extra work yourselves then. Having free time helps my soul. Woman shrugging, medium dark skin tone. Usually that policy means either they have a contract with one company for a discount or some manager's brother owns that taxi company. So which executive was getting kickbacks from the taxi company?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.